Story 1. The Ghost Hotel in Phuket. Phuket is considered one of the famous tourist destinations in the world in general and Thailand in particular. It's a place where you can meet and interact with many friends from all over the world. However, hidden in the dark corners, there are many paranormal stories that frequently occur in this tourist destination. It's not surprising that when you ask about a ghost story, the local people are willing to tell you without feeling bothered. Moreover, many tourists, both domestic and foreign, firmly believe that they have encountered supernatural phenomena while traveling in Phuket. A typical case is the situation of Chinese tourists. Many of them claimed that after returning from their trip to Phuket, they suddenly developed high fevers. There were even cases where an entire family of 6 fell ill and bedridden for several days without a clear reason. It was only when they invited priests to investigate that they discovered the family was being haunted by malicious spirits, which caused their weakened condition. Therefore, to find out the truth about these stories, I have an interview with a group of tourists who have traveled to Phuket several times to see if they have experienced any paranormal incidents. The interviewed group of tourists is from Singapore. A 37-year-old man recounted the following. 2 years ago, Mr. Tan and his 2 close friends booked a trip to Phuket together. They visited many famous landmarks and tourist attractions there. Everything seemed to be going well, leaving them with many fond memories. However, one night, when the tour guide arranged for them to stay in a series of rooms located at the far end of a well-known hotel, things took a strange turn. The room had 2 large beds and a living room. Initially, everything in the room was functioning normally until midnight, when the bedside lamp suddenly went out, the air conditioner stopped working, and even the bathroom faucet didn't flow. Mr. Tan had to call the front desk for assistance, and after almost half an hour, a repairman arrived, and everything returned to normal. At that moment, Mr. Tan's 2 friends felt that there was something very unusual about the room. But since the 3 of them were together, their suspicions vanished. Afterward, Mr. Tan and his 2 friends decided to sleep together by combining the 2 beds into one. They made sure to lock the room's doors securely to prevent theft. Mr. Tan himself admitted, "When I woke up abruptly in the middle of the night, I didn't know when the room door had been wide open. In front of me stood a man wearing traditional Thai clothing, his face unclear. I thought it was a thief breaking into the room, so I asked, 'Who are you? Why are you standing at my room door?' Just as I asked that, my limbs suddenly froze, and I couldn't even scream. I was very scared at that moment." Later, Mr. Tan learned that he had experienced an episode of sleep paralysis or ghost oppression, as it is known by different names in Asia. Not only Mr. Tan, but also his 2 friends experienced similar phenomena, along with eerie voices that echoed endlessly in the room. Finally, due to overwhelming fear, the 3 of them decided to quickly leave the room in the middle of the night. After hearing their story, the tour guide mentioned it to the hotel management, but they remained silent and didn't disclose anything. Apart from agreeing to change the room to a spacious one with a beautiful view, the hotel offered to them, Mr. Tan and his friends declined the decision. After researching with the local residents, Mr. Tan discovered that the hotel was built on the site of a long-abandoned cemetery. Not only his group but also most of the guests who stayed at this hotel experienced strange paranormal activities. Some people were terrified and no longer wanted to stay, while others were satisfied with the service here, or perhaps they didn't encounter any haunted phenomena as rumored, for example. Story 2. The Ghost Hotel in Bangkok. My name is Yen, and I'm from Hubei, China. This is my first time traveling to Thailand. Before visiting the land of the Golden Temples, I did some research on spiritual stories, sacred items, amulets, or Kuman thong dolls. Partly because I have a friend who runs a fashion shop in Thailand, and she often shares many ghost stories, so I'm not very easily scared. I remember visiting Thailand in 2011. My main purpose for coming here was to obtain a blessed thread from a four-faced Buddha statue inside a renowned temple in Bangkok. The real adventure began when my friend settled in Thailand, and we met. Before exploring the city at night, we decided to stay at a truly Chinese-style hotel in the Chinatown area to rest. The interior was very classical, and I learned that the hotel was built before the 1950s. The elevator inside could only accommodate 3 people. I was assigned to a room near the end of the corridor by the receptionist. Since it was daytime, everything seemed normal, but as soon as I opened the door to the room, I could smell a musty odor, and the furniture arrangement was very old-fashioned. Especially the air conditioner looked like a heating machine I had seen in northern China. Initially, I was somewhat dissatisfied with the room, but since I had already booked it, and it was cheap, plus my friend added some encouragement, I reluctantly moved my luggage into the room. After dining out and resting outside, we started exploring Bangkok at night, enjoying the shopping and entertainment that I loved. It was nearly 10 o'clock when we decided to return to the hotel, although I didn't feel tired or sleepy at all. Everything was normal until around 1 or 2 in the morning when my friend and I felt a bit hungry, so we decided to get up and cook instant noodles. I was worried about boiling water, while my friend arranged the food on the table. I suddenly noticed that there was no gas stove or kettle in the room, so I stood up and was about to go down to the reception to ask for a hot water flask. As soon as I stepped out of the door, I was taken aback to see that the corridor was pitch black, with no lights turned on. Only a faint glow from the streetlights outside illuminated the surroundings, but it wasn't enough for me to see the scenery clearly in front of me. At that moment, I took out my mobile phone and turned on the flashlight. As I approached the elevator, I was surprised to see a large mirror hanging on the side of the L-shaped corridor. At first, I didn't pay much attention because I couldn't remember if it was there in the morning. It could have been hanging there, and I just didn't notice. Underneath the mirror, there were some twisted Thai characters written, but I didn't understand their meaning. After a few minutes of struggling with the mirror, I quickly went down to the reception desk to request hot water. Back in my room, I recounted the incident to my friend, but she just laughed and said to me, "Don't worry about it." Although it sounded a bit confusing, I didn't question it anymore and poured hot water into 2 cups of instant noodles, then waited. After eating and chatting, it was already 3:45 a.m. My friend was already sleepy and returned to bed. As for me, I was still wide awake, not ready to sleep yet, so I walked to the window to admire the scenery outside. At that moment, I don't know if it was my imagination or dizziness, but did I see a haunting face imprinted on the window, smiling as if it wanted my attention? I wasn't scared nor did I react because it appeared so unexpectedly. While I was contemplating the phenomenon, suddenly the chair in the room crashed to the ground, making a loud noise in the middle of the night, nearly giving me a heart attack. Looking at the clock, I was both nervous and puzzled as the clock's hand remained still at 45 minutes past the hour. So time hasn't moved since earlier? I thought to myself. Afterwards, I ignored it and immediately turned on all the lights in the room and the TV to distract my mind from the earlier occurrence. However, my friend continued to sleep soundly as if she didn't hear the sound of the chair crashing earlier. Sitting on the bed, watching TV, I didn't even know what I was thinking anymore. I wanted to wash my face to clear my mind, but I didn't dare because I felt that something horrifying was waiting for me in the bathroom. And then, what I imagined became reality. From the mirror next to the TV, I could clearly see the bathroom door slowly opening, the wooden door creaking, sending shivers down my spine. Luckily, no one or nothing stepped out of the bathroom. Otherwise, I might have fainted. After a moment of confusion, I eventually fell into a deep sleep without realizing it until my friend woke me up at 9 a.m. Setting aside the events of the previous night, we immediately took a car to the temple with the four-faced Buddha statue. After wearing the Buddha necklace, I became courageous and confident. The following evening, I was able to eat and sleep normally without any creepy incidents occurring. But somehow, in my mind, I always felt like someone was secretly watching me in the room, and that feeling was very real until I left the hotel, and everything ceased to exist.